All right. This is, I think, going to be the last demo of the section view drawings that I'm going to do. I've done the full section drawing, the aligned section drawing, and now I think I'm going to be doing what I would consider the most difficult assignment drawing of the of module 6 section views, and that is the shaft support, in which you're going to do a front view with a revolve section and a remove section to show the small pilot hole here. So there's some fairly good detail going on here. And so I think this is a good example to do. We'll talk about a lot of the different features here. There's a lot going on. So I'm sure that you'll find this video helpful and probably need to watch it a few times. All right, so let's get started. So as I said, the object here is the shaft support, and that's what we're going to be drawing. We're going to need a top view and a front view, and in the front view we're going to put a revolve section of the rib section here. Okay, and then there's also a small pilot hole right there, which you can see in the enlarged view right there. And that's going to, in order to show that clearly, we need to use a removed section. All right, so there's actually going to be 3 views that you're going to be drawing. A top view, a front view with a revolve section, and then a remove section of the end here, the small cylinder with the pilot hole in it. This is a metric drawing, so we're going to start with the metric template. Everything else is pretty standard. All right, so this is what I've done so far. All right, so we have the top view. Mind you that the spacing maybe not a little bit, maybe a little bit too close. So I just, like I said before in the other videos, I like to keep it close so that my drawing can be enlarged in AutoCAD, and I'll just space it out later when I get to the arranging it on the in the layout. All right. So anyway, here's my top view, and here's my right side or front view. Okay, this should be pretty straightforward. I don't think you should not have a problem with these 2 views up to this point. But I do want to draw your attention to a couple of features here that are kind of outside of the section view part. And that is, this object has fillets and rounds in it. And you can see it here clearly in the figure that there's fillets and rounds on all the surfaces here. And then it says right here, the rounds and fillets are R3. All right, so we need to add that in here, and that can be a little bit tricky. So let me show you how we're going to do that. So let's zoom in on the top view here. We'll do that first because that's the easiest part. We'll go to fillet, right? And remember that for fillet, you got to put the radius in there first. So I'm going to type in R and hit enter, and then the radius 3, and it's already in there. And then we're going to click this line and this circle. And it's gonna, now, what AutoCAD does nicely here is it doesn't trim this part out, you know, so that would be annoying if it did that. We can go back to the fillet command, and because we've already put the radius in there, we don't have to do it again there. And then we go and we do it again, and then I hit the space bar and we do it again. All right, so far so good. All right, so there's the top view with the fillets in there. Now, how does this play out in the front view? Okay, well, we need a fillet right there. All right, so let me go ahead and put that in there. Fillet, and I'll put that right there. Okay, and we need also one on the bottom surface right there. And you know, we need one over here too. And that's going to be where we run into some problems. So out here and out here, we have some issues with the rib. Clearly, you can see the rib, or whatever the horizontal part you want to call it, the web, continues along the cylinder, and it runs in tangential to this surface. All right. It does the same on the back. It runs in tangential, so it spreads out. So out here, this is not correct, right? This surface continues out like this. Where does it continue out? Well, it continues out to the line of tangency. So I'm going to draw a line from the point of tangency right here. And you can see I can grab that with Object Snap Endpoint. I'm just going to, whoops, I don't want to do that in my center line. I want to put that in a visible line. So let's go back to the line command and let's grab this endpoint right here and let's just project it down, okay? So I'll zoom in here. This line continues out to there. So we can extend here and here, all right? But what happens at the end? Well, notice that we have a fillet out here. That means that there's a curve going all the way around this until the curve just vanishes, right? So how do we handle the curve out here, right? It is not a full quarter circle fillet, right? And what it should be is it should be a half of a fillet, all right? So let me show you a trick for doing that, right? We already have one here. So you know what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy this because this is the basic geometry that we need. So I'm going to copy this, all right? And I might as well copy this one while I'm here too. So I'm going to select the fillets and copy it. And now I'm going to grab the end here and I'm going to copy it to the perpendicular intersection right there. Okay, so far so good. All right. Now, we're almost there. All right. I can trim this away. I'm going to leave this here just as a line of reference so you can see what I'm doing. All right. But now we need to cut this in half. So here's how we cut it in half. We draw a line from the center of the fillet at an angle of 45 degrees. Now I'm going to draw it past again just so you can see. And we hit escape. And now we trim off the top part. All right? And we're not done now. We have to now move this a little bit further over here. So we can go to the move command and we can grab the end here and then we need to extend that like that. All right? So did you get that? All right, let's do the same thing over here. We're going to draw a line from the center at 45 degrees. I'm going to trim this part away. I'll erase this, and I'm going to move this from here to here, and then we can extend right there. And that is what we call a run out. Okay? So I can erase that. Now, I need to do the same thing over here, and I want to warn you, I left this here to show you clearly that the lines do not end at the center line here, all right? If we look, the point of tangency is actually back here, all right? So if I draw a line from the point of tangency down, you can clearly see what's going on. Now, I could go ahead and do the same construction that I did on the left side over on this side, but I'm going to encourage you to be a lazy drafter, right? I know that sounds weird, but lazy but correct is called efficient, right? So what I'm going to do, I've already done the construction I need over here, so I'm just going to use the mirror command, and I'm going to grab these two things, and I'm going to mirror it. Now, I don't have an exact mirror line, but you know what? Don't worry about that. Just pick a mirror line right about there and get it over there, and then you can move them, right? So I'm just going to move, I'm going to pick those two, and I'm going to move it from here to here. And you can see I got a little bit of that left over, which we don't want. That one looks good. That was from when I previously had it in there. And there we go, okay? Can't forget this, and this, and this, and this. And what did I tell you? It took that away. No problem. I'll just extend that. Whoops. I'll just extend that through there and through there and make sure I got it all good. Zoom in there. That looks good. Zoom in there. That looks good. All right. So there is your front view and top view completed. Of course, without the revolve section and some of the other features in here. Okay, so so let's I guess right now let's go ahead and finish with the hidden lines on this. Oops, I guess I have that turned off. There we go. Whoops. Hey. Let's Let's make this the correct layer. As you can tell, I've done this before, so I'm just reusing a previous drawing and kind of adding to it. And I want to get rid of this because that's not going to be helpful to us. All right, so there's my hidden lines here. Almost all the hidden lines, right? Of course, we're missing some hidden lines here for the pilot hole, but we're going to leave that out right now. And we have some missing hidden lines here for the pilot hole there. All right, so let's do the revolve section first. Okay, now it says in the instructions to choose, for the revolve section, to choose an area roughly in the near the middle, right? We don't have to get really detailed and accurate with that because it really isn't going to matter. So I'm going to draw, this is going to be a reference line. So I'm just going to draw a reference line right about there. That looks good. You know, if we wanted to get it right in the middle, we could do a middle object snap and just kind of bring this down like that. And again, that's a reference line. So I'll shoot that up there. It's just a reference line. And that's where we're going to base our revolve section. Okay. Now we're still going to have to get some dimensions up here, from up here. And namely, what we're going to have to get is the dimension from this point to this point. Okay. Or actually, we're going to get half from the center out to the end. And I'll show you how you do that, right? We use there's a number of different ways. You could dimension this and then take half of that. But I think that introduces some error into it, or some runoff error, because, you know, you might have some, a lot of decimal places in this. So we'll let AutoCAD do the work, right? You know, we want to be lazy, but correct again. So I'm going to go to the offset command. And I'm going to choose, remember it says, I did this before in one of the drawings. It says offset distance right there. And I'm going to choose an offset distance from the intersection right there to the end right there. So I'm basically recording that half distance. And now I want to take it and I want to apply it here and here. Now you can see if I pause, that dimension, that distance, is actually 24.7271, and there's probably another 12 decimal places in that too. So, you know, this way I can do it as accurately as AutoCAD will allow me to do it. Okay, so that's going to give us the left and right extents of our rib section, our revolve section. So we can actually trim this off right there and right there. I think as I draw this, you'll see more and more of what I'm going to be doing. The rib on the top part here has a width of 10. So I'm going to offset 5 to the left and to the right. And again, I'm going to trim it so that we can see what's going on here. Okay. So far, so good. Now, I think I can get rid of this line, or at least, actually, you know, I'm not going to get rid of that because I'll change that into a center line. I think that would be more helpful. It will need to be a center line eventually, so I might as well change it now. All right, so now here's where it gets a little bit nuanced and you have to pay attention, okay? So first of all, the rib right here, there's not a line going through the rib, so or the section, so I need to pull that out. Secondly, these are going to be filleted, so I can put a fillet in there with a radius of 3 again, and we can do the same thing there. This is going to be a radius of 3, as is this, and here, but you know what? I don't want to have to have it trim and then extend all of these. So let me show you a trick with the fillet command. We go to the fillet command, right? The radius is already set, right? Radius 3, I already have that set. But I'm going to use the down arrow, and I'm going to say trim, and I'm going to say no trim. All right. Now, normally you don't want it like this, but in this case, I think it's better to put it in there. It doesn't 100% fix it because now I have to trim, and you will too if you do it this way, this little section right here. But might be a smidge faster. Okay, so now you can see what we've done here. We've basically taken this upside down T section that is right here, and we've taken it out, and then we've rotated it and put it right back down in place. Now, the last little bit here, which is definitely where people drop the ball, is the top. The top is flat. The top is flat. Well, not in my drawing right there. It's not flat. So what I have to do is I have to draw a line from the intersection of the center out here, like so. And I'm going to extend that there. All right. And then that's the top. Well, not quite. We'll go to fillet. Now, I do want to trim here, so I'm going to hit the down arrow and go back to trim and go back to trim because I do want to trim this right there. And right there, all right? And of course, we want to get rid of that little portion behind there. And there's our revolve section, all right? So you see that's the T section, the upside down T, that is the cross section of this web rib kind of thing in the shaft support, all right? Now we need to section it. Let's apply a section line. There we go. Yikes. That scale is not going to be very good. So let us change the scale to, I don't know why it's so bad here, 25. This might not be the case for your drawing. Okay, so you're going to have to adjust the scale according to your drawing. The drawing that I'm using here is actually an older drawing that I've completed a few years ago, so the template might not have the same settings. So it's no big deal. You just get to do that yourself, and then everything else is good. The angle is good, and we close that. All right. So there's our revolve section. Now I'm going to trim this out here and erase this, so I'll get the center mark correct. Trim that back, and I'm going to use this. This should extend 6 millimeters past the edge here, and same thing down here, 6 millimeters, and there we go. All right, so far so good. All right, so now let's do this one here. So this is definitely the tricky part. I think it's tricky to just understand what you're drawing, to just understand the view you're creating. Sorry, I'm drinking coffee while I'm doing this, so if you hear me slurping, that's what that is. I apologize ahead of time. All right, so the pilot hole. So the pilot hole is on this front side of this, all right? So, and if we look right here, we can see there's the pilot hole. So we're not even going to be able to draw the pilot hole in this view or this view, right? Not yet, certainly. And so we really need to understand what we're drawing over here. We're going to be drawing a side view of a cylinder. All right. In fact, we're going to be drawing the side view of this cylinder. Cylinders are easy to draw, right? In their rectangular view, their side view, like I have here, they're symmetrical, right? So look, I can go ahead and copy, the window that right there, and copy all of that stuff right over there, right? So there is where my full section is, my remove section is going to be. So in essence, what I'm doing, and let me clean this up a little bit. I'll get rid of these runouts. We don't need the runouts. Okay, so look how easy that is. That's what we're going to be drawing, except we're going to be looking at it from a slightly different angle. Well, not slightly different. We're going to be looking at it 90 degrees to where it is now. Maybe it would be more helpful to imagine it from this perspective. So let me just show you how we would do that. I'll put that up there. Just bear with me. This is just for visualization purposes, right? This isn't going to be how you're going to draw it. Go like that. I like to show you the different ways that you can view this to understand it a little bit better. So if we were to view it from the top view, this would be the right side view of this feature right here. Okay. If we were going to view it from the front view, this would be the right side view of this feature right here. So we're looking at a cylinder with this kind of changing diameter of the hole, right? A stepped hole, we might say. Right? So the pilot hole is going to be right in here, right? And we can draw it from this perspective. So let me just zoom in here, and I'll pull this across. So you can see the dimensions right there. It's a diameter 1.5 with a diameter 3.5 counterbore that's 2.5 millimeters deep, and it's 11. It's positioned 11. Well, actually, from the opening to the bottom is 11 millimeters, and it's 10 millimeters from the top. And it's at an angle of 30 degrees. Wow, that's a lot of stuff. Okay, so how are we going to do this? All right, so let's do this. Let's offset first 10 millimeters. All right, so that's where it starts. Whoops. There we go, 10 millimeters. Okay, and then it goes at 30 degrees. Okay, so I'm going to draw a line from here at an angle of 30 degrees. Whoops, I don't want section. I want visible. And let me change this to 30, 60, 90. And then we'll draw a line here, and we'll make sure we get it 30 degrees from the horizon, 30 degrees from horizontal. That's the dimension that we got. And I'll just go this distance. I know this is longer than I need, so that's sufficient, okay? Now, I like to erase kind of lines as I think that they're going to become confusing to me, so I'm definitely going to get rid of that line. I don't need that line. Let's see. And now I just want to draw the hole, right? So the hole is going to be at an angle. And it is a diameter of 1.5 through the thing. So we're going to, what's half of 1.5? 0.75. So we're going to offset 0.75. This line, that's the small portion of the hole. Then, and maybe it would be helpful if I change this to a center line just to help you visualize things. Okay. And let's see now this, and I can go ahead. I'm trying to figure out what I can clean up to help you understand what you're looking at. There we go. Okay. And in fact, all of these lines should be visible. I'll go ahead and change these to visible so that we can see that clearly. There we go. All right. So now it's looking a little bit better. Now we have a diameter 3.5 counterbore. Okay. So what's half of 3.5? Well, I don't know what half of 3.5 is. Maybe I'm having a bad day with math, right? So, so let me show you a little bit of a trick. We go to offset, right? And then it says, whoops, let's go off here. It says specify an offset distance, and it's half of 3.5, which is what I want, half of 3.5. But, you know, I'm having a little off day. I don't know what half of 3.5 is. So I can do this. Watch. Apostrophe CAL, right? Apostrophe cal, hit enter. And then it goes into a transparent command. That's AutoCAD's terminology for a command within a command. So I've executed the calculator command inside the offset command. And now I want to do 3.5 divided by 2. And when I hit enter, that value is calculated and is put in as the offset distance. And we can do that right there. Bada bing, bada boom, right? QED, quite easily done. Always change that to there. All right. And so there we go. So now we have a 3.5 diameter and a 1.5 diameter hole that we're starting. Now, let's extend that there. Now, the depth of the counterbore is 2.5. Okay, it's 2.5, and it's going to be measured from the center right here. So let me show you a little bit of a trick to do that. let's do, there's a couple different ways to do it, but I'll show you this way. We go to center radius, and I'm going to put a center right there, and I'm going to stretch this open 2.5. All right, and where so that acted like a compass, right? So now I got a line right there, and I can draw a line from here, perpendicular right there. Okay, and then I can extend that through that. Again, like that, and then there we go. All right, so now let's clean this up, and I think you'll be able to see what happened, what we did. So let's first get that line and those lines trimmed. We'll get that line. I'm kind of doing this very slowly, I guess. Probably too slowly. There's our pilot hole right there. Okay. In its profile view, we have the counter bore, and then we have the through hole going through there. Okay, so let's clean up while we're here. We might as well. Whoops! Hey, I don't want to do that. Sorry. While we're here, we might as well get rid of that, trim that back, and then we can extend that, and that's going to be 6 millimeters here. So we'll go 6, and then we go 6 millimeters. And don't worry about it not breaking or showing the dash. Don't worry about that. That's an AutoCAD thing. All right, so there we go. So there's our removed section. Okay, now in this case, we do need to put a cutting plane line because it's not going to be obvious where that cut is being made. By the way, we could just as easily, we could just as easily put this up here. So let me just show you what that would look like, right? Because it is also correct. So I'll move this up here. And you would do exactly the same thing as I did, except it would be rotated. So I want you to understand, the way the views line up. I know I'm kind of moving this into, obviously you wouldn't move this, you would draw it in this position. But there you go. Okay, so there's the removed section developed or projected from the front view over here. Here's the same removed section developed from or projected from the top view. Okay, so either way, you only need to show one, right? But either way, these are equally valid. So now to add a cutting plane line in this, basically the easiest thing to do is just replace this, put it on the cutting plane layer, right? And then we need to extend this a little bit. So the offset is 12 millimeters, right? 1/2 inch for that. So we need to extend that out there, right? And then we can get rid of this and get rid of this. And excuse me, which way is the arrow going to point? Where here's the section view, so the arrows are going to point to the left. So I can go to cutting plane and annotate and multi-leader and put it out there and go just like that. Oh, you know what? I don't think I have, in this drawing, I don't think I have the right, let me see, I don't think I have the right arrow size. Yeah, so here. This is not going to happen to you, so don't worry about it. This is just part of the issue that I'm having. So I'm going to scale this first. Whoops, I need to explode it first. So this little bit is extra. This is just me trying to fix my own template. So I'm going to scale this first by 25.4 because I think it's in inches. And then I'm going to scale it again by 2 because we need it to be scaled by 2. And then I'm going to offset 12. And we'll put it right there. And we'll move this from here down to here. Whoops. Let's undo that again. Let's move this from there down to there. We can trim that, erase that, and then we can just copy this from here to here. Okay. For those of you that want to be adventurous and put it up here, that's no big deal. We just need to get rid of this line, right? And in fact, I'll show you what we can do. We can also just take this and this and this and put it on the cutting plane layer. Right? There we go. All right. And then this is really going to be the same. So watch what I can do here. I can offset 12, offset that out. We can extend this like so. Okay. Get rid of that construction circle. And then we can copy this from here to here. All right, so there we go. All right, so there are two solutions for the remove section here. Whether you want to develop it from the top view or project it from the front view, it's up to you. All right, let's just finish this up. We need to go to our section view or section layer and put our hatching in there, like so. And then we'll do that again, and we'll do it up here, depending on which way you want to go. And let's just balance this out a little bit. We'll move it out here like that. Okay. So there we go. Zoom extents. All right. Now, one last thing about this. Okay. We're showing hidden lines in here. Right, we got the hidden lines for the back hole. We got the hidden lines for the stepped hole in here. We got the hidden line for that, opening, that larger diameter right there. What about the hidden lines for the pilot hole? Now, this is where technically, we should put the hidden lines in here. There's a couple of different options for doing this. Okay. The hidden lines would be shown in the top view here, but they're going to be kind of messy, right? Because we're not going to have, it's going to be like elliptical, all right? Now the hidden lines here, we also have visible lines, and we can't really omit visible lines, all right? So let me show you what I'm talking about here. So let's go to the visible layer, right? So on this surface right here in the front view, we're going to see the pilot hole, the opening for the pilot hole. So I'm going to draw a line from here to find out where that opening is going to be. And it's going to be right there. And I'm also going to project the top of the line, the top of the hole, and the bottom of the hole right there. Okay. Now, this is kind of like what we did in auxiliary views. This dimension is stretched. The dimension to the left and to the right for the hole is not. Okay? Forget about the fact that it's around a cylinder. That makes it, really, really super complicated. But we don't have to draw that. That's not the conventional practices as I'm showing you right here. So this is a diameter 3.5. And again, I don't know what half of 3.5 is, so I'm going to go to offset and do apostrophe cal, 3.5 divided by 2. And then we'll take this line and we'll go out here and this line and out there. All right, now if you're wondering what the heck I'm doing, let me make these visible lines so you can kind of see what I'm doing. I've just framed in where the ellipse is going to go. The center of the ellipse is right there. The left and right extents of the ellipse is there, and the top and bottom extents of the ellipse is right there. So now I can draw the ellipse, and I can use either axis, end, or center. It really doesn't matter. I'll use the center. I choose the center. I go this direction, and then I go right there. Okay, so there's the ellipse in that. Now I can erase these construction lines because we don't need them anymore. And I'll leave the center in there because that may be, that's not really helpful either. And so there you go. All right. Now, you can also see the back edge of that. All right. So like I said before, I feel like I'm giving away a lot of stuff here. So I better see this in the drawings Because if I don't see it in the drawing, that means that you're kind of not paying attention to my videos, okay? And I'm trying to show you how to do this properly. The back part of this hole is the same diameter. It's just kind of shifted down. So look, I'm going to project this across. All right, and again, this is just like we did in auxiliary views. I'm going to copy this from the top here to right there. And then I can trim this away, like so. There we go. All right, now are we done yet? No, we actually got another little hole, and you might be able to see that one right there. I don't know, it's going to be tough, but we're going to project across here. You know, if you're doing this at work, your boss is going to be so impressed with your accuracy and precision. It's going to be amazing. Yeah, we are going to see that. All right, and I want to project the center also. All right, and then I need to offset this line, the center, half of the diameter, which is the diameter is 1.5. I know that, that's 0.75. So I'm going to offset 0.75. I'm going to offset this to the left, and I'll offset this to the right. Now, it's a little bit, see how you got the break in the cutting plane line that kind of lines up here? Sometimes AutoCAD isn't able to find the intersection there, so I'm going to go ahead and change these to visible so that we can see that, just in case. And there we go. So we go back to the ellipse, and actually we can use the axis end here. So we'll choose one axis end here, the other axis end right there, and we stretch it up right there. All right. There we go. Okay. So there's the pilot hole. Now here's where it gets a little bit judgy. All right, let's say judgy. Let's zoom out like this. And you know, we haven't yet talked about that because that's going to be a different view. All right, so here's what we have here. We have a top view that has a hidden circle right there representing the stepped diameter in this hole, which we're showing in the remove section right there. Okay. Here we have a front view where we have a hidden hole, which we're showing right here. Okay. And the stepped hole, which we're showing as hidden lines here and over here. Now here's the issue that I have. Remember that there's a rule that we can omit hidden lines, but what we're not allowed to do is we're not allowed to randomly omit hidden lines that we don't feel are convenient in a view. So we can omit hidden lines in a view. And if we're going to omit the hidden lines for this pilot hole, which we should, because it's going to be tough to draw that over here, and it's not really going to be very helpful, we need to get rid of that line, that circle, okay? Same thing goes down here. We're not going to show the rest of the hidden features for this hole, right? Because there would be a hidden hole right here for where the hole exits, right about there. We're not going to show that there. That's not going to be very helpful. But we partial views doesn't mean that we get to omit visible lines, just hidden lines. So guess what? We got to get rid of all this stuff here. So all that work we did for that is gone. And if we're going to get rid of the hidden lines here, we got to get rid of the hidden lines here, right? Otherwise it would be too confusing. And so that is our final drawing, all right? Now, bear in mind, let me just say this here. Let me fix this so that I don't have anybody that says, well, you showed both views. No. Let me show you what I'm talking about, okay? So you get to choose which one you want to do. I want to be very clear here because I know I'm going to get some of you that are going to say, well, you showed us that we could do everything here. So here's what 1 is going to be. All right, so this needs to extend out 2 millimeters, and this needs to extend out 2 millimeters, and we need to change that to a center line right there. All right, so there is one solution right there. All right, that is one solution. The other solution, equally valid, is this solution. All right. Actually, let's offset 6. And then this becomes a center line. There we go, center line there. So this is an equally valid solution, right? The revolve section can be developed or projected from the top view or from the front view. Okay? So there we go. All right, so there's your 2 possible solutions. I hope that's helpful. I know that's a difficult drawing. But that's why I wanted to do this as a demo. All right. I won't bore you with setting it up in the layout because I think you guys can handle that fine. If you have any questions, please email me. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video.